Hello, everybody. Dennis here for One Love Media. I just wanted to come and make a quick video. I had a chance to go over to Carlos's house, and I was joined by Lacey, and we sat down at the podcast table. I set up some cameras real fast to record just kind of an introduction of Lacey as she joins our team. So that way you could get to know her, kind of see us three as we talk to each other and grow as a media team. Again, this channel is going to be mostly kind of behind the scenes stuff that we're going to talk about: cameras, technical gear, what we're doing, and how we're supporting One Love Ministries. So stay around, stick it out, and learn some stuff about Lacey as we welcome her to the team. Stay tuned. So first, if you just say your name and kind of where you come from.
My name is Lacey Hassan. And I was born in Port Orange, Florida. Lived there till I was 15, and then we moved to Orlando right out of high school. I went to Valencia for 2 years, and then got married, had a son, and then decided that I wanted to go back to school and get a degree in character animation. So I did. Went to UCF and just really enjoyed the process of editing and storyboarding, coming up with ideas, and originally, like, all of us had to write a story. So there was 25 of us, I believe. So 25 stories, and we all read them and gave our input and kind of voted down to 7. And one of my stories made the top 7, which was fun.
That's awesome.
So we went forward, to make an actual film. Mm-hmm. Once I graduated, I ended up getting pregnant with twins. And so then I was a stay-at-home mom they're 4 now. And I met Carlos and Liz.
So to stop you there, how did you meet Carlos and Liz?
Actually, my parents go to Faith Assembly, which is the church where Carlos and Liz go to. And my mom stumbled on this ad it was One Light Media at the time, and said they were looking for people to get together, every other weekend and work on these ideas. And I just really liked the sound of that, and the fact that I could use my skills, but still bring glory to God, work on stuff, Christian things that were, reached people.
Right.
And because I'm an introvert.
Okay.
And I would just say that is my way that I would like to reach people. I'm not a bold in your face kind of, you need to be saved.
Right.
So I'm more like through my actions and through visual. I just love the idea of, there's just so much emotion in visuals and audio, and I just feel like there's a ministry there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I can just see the blessing of God on Carlos and Liz and all the people that I've met through them so far, that I just know this is going to be an amazing thing. And I'm so glad to be a part of it, that you guys just welcomed me in, just part of the family.
Yeah, awesome.
So it was strange how we started the whole thing.
Yeah.
Eventually that group post that you saw was intended for something else, and that's something that maybe we should discuss another day. But because of that, we were able to meet you, and I'm excited about you being part of this. And I think we're still in the getting things organized stage, but there's a lot that's being put together. And this is going to be interesting, just working together with everything that everybody brings. Something that you said, it's hard when you do things by yourself, but when you have a lot of people come together and everybody uses their gifts and their skills, amazing things happen. So
that's right. Yeah. So do you remember when Liz, when she reached out to you, like it was through an email or through an interest group, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And how did you first talk to her?
Well, we waited because, like I said, again, the intention of that group was for something different. That
Did you say you even forgot about it?
Okay, that's what I was trying to avoid to say, but I did. I forgot that was even there. And we were praying for people to come and be part of this, and then the email popped up. So I was like, wow, I don't want to give them the wrong impression. So that's when I told my wife to ask you to come over so we could explain to you and let you decide from there, and that way we can get to know you. Yeah. And then just kind of just went from there.
Yeah, right. Because originally it was kind of the idea of coming together in groups and one mind studying, right? But it's transformed over the course of a year to really push in with this ministry and reaching out, especially as we fell up underneath One Love from what the original portion. So you have twins. How is that in life?
It's great.
It's great?
It really is. Yeah. I had my son who's just turned 12. And so pretty much, an only child for 8 years. And it was funny too, because he would always say, oh, I want a little brother. I really want a brother or sister. And then like all of a sudden he started saying, I don't really want a brother or sister. And then within maybe like 6 months, I was pregnant with twins.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go.
So, but it's so different having like one and then a boy and then the 2 girls. It's great. Like, I'm really glad that I had 2 because they have each other.
Yeah.
They play real nice together. There's a lot of fights but they're sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. I have technically I have 4 kids, but 3 at the house right now, and the first 2 boys were close together. So one's 13, and one's about to turn 12, and so they have grown up, get to play each other and fight with each other and do that. And then we had a girl. She's 6, so same thing. Got a good gap in there, and she does play with the older brothers, but it's not the same,
right.
where they're that same age. And she's always like, "Who am I gonna play with? They never play with me. I'm by myself." And,
Aw.
yeah, so that can be definitely hard. But I know that for me, it was a big difference going from boys to a girl.
Yep.
Definitely, she has a good emotional range that she's able to exercise quickly from definitely reaching from highs to lows effectively and learning how to manage that, I think. So it is an interesting experience. I can only imagine 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about it for too long. So that's awesome. So your mother and father, you said, go to Faith, and
yep.
they let you know to reach out. So you do attend another church.
I do.
And what's the name of that church?
It's the church at 434. I live in Winter Springs, so it's very close.
Yeah.
About 2 blocks from my house. And it's a small church.
About how many people attend, do you think?
I would say 75,
100. Yeah, the average church size in America is 100.
Is it really?
It is,
I
yeah.
didn't know
So
that.
I know that in Orlando we're blessed and we do have some large churches.
Yes.
But looking out, 100 is about average.
Wow.
Yeah. I know I say in this career or of choice of media, both me and Carlos have made videos online and doing things, trying to spread in the same way, right? Like I feel called by God to spread his message through video or multimedia, right, is what I feel. And I know that in this game of YouTube, we'll call it a game, I think about subscribers, right? People are like, oh, like how many subscribers? And I got millions of subscribers. But I've always thought to myself, if I could get 100 subscribers, I'm as big as the average church in America.
Oh, wow. That's, kind of mind-blowing.
It is, right? I mean, and the influence, that you can have and how that can compound, that we, as John Maxwell says with leadership, leadership is influence, right? Nothing more, nothing less. And we have that influence. And being able to affect people through media is a great, just as you said, we can draw on emotion. We have a great way in a short period of time that we can express things and show God's love and character. So we have a great opportunity to use that. Absolutely. So with that church, are you involved in anything else? I know you said you're an introvert, but are you involved in anything, doing anything there currently?
I would like to be. I let the pastor know that I want to be involved. And we did a volunteer thing around, it was in January, but it was like a Christmas thing. So we went and helped clean up, my son and I. And I would like to get involved with their media as well, because they do little films. And
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that. So that's awesome. Carla, so in this process of us turning into One Love Media and working in them, have you had any visions or ideas how animation is going to come into play? Or
I have a lot of visions.
yeah,
But I can't. What I have, and you know, I want to make sure it's done properly, right? So I have a lot of ideas of little short stories, possibly putting together, just talking about specific messages. Maybe that could be animated, that can attract a certain people. You know, I know I would watch it. So yeah, we have a list, and we have a project list of things that we want to work on. We just have to get people to write it, or our writing side to put it together so we could put it into action.
yeah. So you mentioned that you wrote stories at the beginning. Is that something you enjoy to do?
I do. I have a lot of ideas, and I try to write them all down, at least a little brief version of something that maybe can, be built upon later on. And I do enjoy the process of bouncing ideas off of other people. Mm-hmm. I also wrote a children's book that I'd like to illustrate. So just like Carlos, I get a little ambitious with my ideas because I have so many things that I want to do.
Yeah, I think many creators deal with that. So
Yeah.
when there's a person named Gary Vaynerchuk, he speaks on entrepreneurship and talks to a lot of young people about things. And one of the things that a lot of 20-year-olds are like, I'm interested in so many things, I don't know what to pick, right? And I think that our ideas can be that way. But I do like his advice. He's like, pick one, because one's not more better than the other in most cases, right? Pick one and do it. And if you don't like it, switch, change or whatever, right? But you got to put effort in one or you'll never do anything,
right?
Right? That we have to pick something and go with it. And I think that we can help each other, right? That's why I think part of, like you said, with being in a group, like we're kind of developing here, that we can help be a little forcing function to push towards something, to push towards ideas, and to bring them through to completion.
Yeah, my mom always says, many hands make light work.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true, right? So outside of the writing, one of the things I heard was we were talking earlier, you said you're just interested in really editing things. So what brings you or do you think brought you to that desire to edit things?
I think I just enjoy the process. It's technical. Just taking a bunch of different clips and turning it into, a movie or a show, or it's just something engaging. And there's all these different aspects to editing too, getting the sound just right, getting the cuts just right.
I think it's interesting for her to say just to enjoy the process is the first part to doing this, because I've heard from so many people that they want to edit, but the moment you start with the process and you lose interest real quick, right? It's just you don't have the patience. I've sat down with some people where they can't do it. They're like, I can't do this. This is just, I even tried showing my wife and she's like, nope, it's not going to happen. I don't have time to sometimes you just got to go through the whole video just to find that one interesting clip that you missed, and if you enjoy the process, that just becomes less painful.
Well, I think it's almost like a puzzle even. And I've always liked puzzles and logic and I'm kind of nitpicky, detailed, very detail oriented. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that if you felt like you were detail oriented, or might I even throw the word perfectionist out,
which is a word that we used.
Guilty.
So we're gonna get along great.
Yes, I can tell that the company I am is a little different, and you might tell that I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not detail oriented.
So a good balance.
So it does help. I think having both for sure. Right. Yeah. I'm definitely. Better with it. Let's just knock it out. Because being a non-perfectionist, non-detail oriented, I know that I need that in my life. I used to joke as, I'm a military. I come from the military. Worked for 20 years and retired. And I got fairly high up in the leadership. And I used to say, well, I have, organized, detailed people that work for me, right? Because I can't do that, right? Yeah. But I'm able to provide focus and effort in a bigger picture, right? Versus being macro, focused, right? We're looking at the bigger projects versus being like in the details sometimes, which hurts me sometimes, right? Because I overlook, especially because I am in editing. I enjoy editing. Yeah. I enjoy the arts. I enjoy all that stuff, but I can lose focus when it's time to get, even like maybe getting that 50% to 70%. Most people can't tell the difference between 80% and 100, right? But I got to hit the 80 where I'm kind of like done at 60%. Oh, wow. Sometimes where I'm like, that's good enough, let's do it. And I've experienced that with my son. We talk about editing, and I know my son is very much like me, and he wants to make videos and things, and he loves to record. And that process of like recording it and having ideas, but then taking all those recordings and then trying to make a story is, I can tell, excruciating, I think, for him. Like he doesn't want to actually roll through that. So many, many times my kids have made videos, and I'll use that loosely. They filmed videos, and then it dies right there. They had fun doing it, and I'll take the footage and delete it because they don't want to sit and go through it, but they don't want to go through that. But I find it interesting you mentioned the editing and the process, because I remember you've saying a few times that you don't like editing.
I don't. Okay, let me rephrase that. I love the fact that when you put something together, you can create something that will affect someone else, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that part. Sometimes I just push myself through the process, and when I put it together, I'm like, wow, that was so worth it, But it's just sometimes just going through the process, and an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours go by, and you're like, when am I going to get done? So that's the part that kind of discourages me. And I am a perfectionist. It has to be right. I look at little things. Like I was editing a video, and I noticed in the corner, when no one else noticed this, there was a cord that went through the screen. I was like, that's not right. No one else noticed it. No one else, even when I showed it to someone else, what is that? That's a cord. But it's not perfect. So things like that sometimes prevent me from actually getting the work done, and I know we've discussed this.
Yeah.
Versus you come and you're like, it's done. That's fine. No one's going to notice. But I noticed it. So it's like, so I think moving forward, I need to let some things go, which I'm working on, right? And just start creating things. That's why like behind the scenes to me is awesome, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect lighting. It doesn't have to everything be shot the right way. It's behind the scenes. So you can just put that together at the right music and you have a video, right?
Right. So. That's true. And I do know it can be hard. As I mentioned, I'm in the military, and so watching a military movie, I can point out all the things that are wrong.
I imagine so.
Right? So you're like, that's wrong, that uniform's wrong, all these things. And now that I've been getting more into filmmaking and learning, because again, I am in that it's good enough thing, right? I do think that content's king in a way, right? Like in the story will overplay a lot of the mistakes that a video can have, right? And I'll say first off that I'm not very good at the story, but I know that it's the most important part, right? So that's what I really want to get into and then we can kind of, as long as your audio is decent, the video can be lacking if there's a good story.
And the good thing about that is that with One Love Ministries, we now have a team that's going to be writing.
That's correct.
Right? And that's going to help this be so much painless, just to be able to come up with an idea and take that idea and give it to the writers, and then they can create a story based on that idea, and then we'll go from there and we can do our part.
That's right.
That's going to be better.
So at work, I was at work, and our general popped up on my splash screen. So I log in, and they have these what's called splash screen, right? Something comes up, safety or this event's going on. And for this day, it was a video, and it was my general where I work. And they did a recorded video, and they start playing. And I'm watching the video, I'm listening to him, right? And then I see cuts, right? Like YouTube cuts, right? There's hard cuts, right? But they only used one camera, which means it was solid. They didn't do a zoom in, zoom out, or anything like that. And they actually did fade to white. in the cuts, right? So I see like these flashes of white, like, whoop, right? And I'm just like, what is going on, right? And I mean, the average person is funny because, like I said, I talked to the person next to me and I said like, oh man, they messed that up. It was crooked. It was like the video was sitting there crooked. And I see these fade to whites, which I don't know why they did fade to whites. And he's like, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't see that.
Well, and you're your own worst critic in anything.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You know, especially I have an art background, and you never feel like your art's as good as it could be.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you could just give up, or you could, you know, try to improve it, or just let it be.
Yep.
The beauty's in the flaws sometimes, you know.
Yep.
That's hard to remember that often imperfections is what makes things nice, right?
Right.
And we talk about, even I was in a dressing nice, you didn't tie a good knot, and a perfect knot isn't nice. You know, a slightly askew, slightly, changed knot is actually more interesting, right? Where if it's just perfectly symmetrical, everything's perfect, it's not as interesting. It's not as interesting. So that's a great process. So it's a great having you on, right? It's great to build the team and have more editors to be able to, I think, bounce off of and ideas and learning. And I know I love to learn from YouTube and change that way. But it's great to have people that are working that can provide actual feedback, I think, right? Does that make sense? Like this, So having another editor on the team.
Constructive criticism.
Exactly. And as long as we can handle it, be prepared.
Like at the tissue box.
Yes, to take it and give in love on that situation. So it's good to have another resource, that we're coming, another person that wants to serve God. And I'm really excited, that this little something that that we started, and I'm going to take a second to Pastor Carlos to know his heart of how when he first got interest into video making and how God kind of answered his prayers in this process. So can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny because when I was going through foundation classes, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, and I remember my instructor telling me, use your gifts, what you like to do, to glorify God. I'm like, okay, how do I do that? And it was real simple. I told him I like to do video. So one thing led to another, and God said, hey, create videos for me. And testimonies, to be exact, which is why my story came about. And then through the process, I prayed for someone to come into my life that liked YouTube and would have the same feelings about, God, and had, that God would flow through their life. And boom, there he showed up one day out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, this is how God is answering his prayers to me. And the rest, it wasn't clear, but as we went along, it's starting to all the pieces are starting to fall into place. I had an idea of creating a team that would do this. And it was never about money. It was always about just as a ministry. So somehow things were just falling into place. People are coming into place. You came into place. You came into place. Lydia came into place. And it's shaping to be exactly what he wants us to do. So
That's right. That's right. So again, we just appreciate you coming on. We all get to come and serve for God, and everybody watching, One Love Media, as this grows, just stick around. We're going to be doing behind the scenes. We're going to be bringing you along as we do different things in this event and get to share it with you. A little more technical from the other side of that. It will be more ministry focused, but we'll get to show you what we do. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment below. See you around.
Take care.
God bless.
God bless.